Roll them and you're ready. All right. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining for the regular board meeting on August 13th, 2024. As we call this meeting to order, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lana, roll call, please.
Mayor DeBold.
Here.
Trustees Amos.
Here.
Brockman.
Here.
Carroll.
Here.
Chapman.
Here.
Luciano.
Here.
And Selfridge.
Here.
All right, we do have a quorum for this evening. Are there any citizens wishing to address the village board this evening? Seeing none, we will move into this evening's consent agenda. Item number 1 will be approval of the regular meeting minutes of July 23rd, 2024. Approval of the committee of the whole meeting minutes for July 23rd, 2024. Approval of accounts payable in the amount of $824,629.35. Approval of the payment in the amount of $10,967.50 to Cornwell Engineering Group for the Shorewood Water Source Transfer Plan. Approval of the payment amount of $39,258.75 to Shorewood Home and Auto on that John Deere Gator. This would be approval of the final payment amount of $10,550 to Pyrotechnic for the fireworks display at the Crossroads Festival. Payment in the amount of $705,461.92 to PT Farrell Construction for the MFT resurfacing project. Item number 8 will be approval of the payment in the amount of $76,926.60 to Hacienda Landscaping for the Rivers Edge Park Phase A project. Does any trustees have any questions or need any other clarifications on this evening's consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion Luciano, second Carroll. Roll call, please.
Brockman.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Luciano.
Yes.
Selfridge.
Yes.
And Amos.
Yes. All right, consent agenda's been approved. We'll move into reports of communications. I do believe the clerk does have something to read into the record for this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a notice regarding the consolidated election for April 1st, 2025. Dear residents, petitions and election materials for the Village of Shorewood are available at the Village Hall located at 1 Town Center Boulevard, Shorewood, Illinois, for pickup from 8 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, commencing August 20th, 2024. There are 5 positions up for election: 3 members of the Board of Trustees, Village President, and Village Clerk. These positions are for a 4-year term. Petitions must be filed by mail as provided by the Illinois Election Code or at the Village Hall during the week of November 12th through 18th, 2024, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m., except that filings are not accepted on Saturday or Sunday and will be accepted between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. on November 18th, 2024. These dates and times for filing will be effective for independent candidates unless otherwise provided by law. Respectfully, Tony Dolney, Deputy Clerk.
Thank you. I do not have anything else for reports of communications this evening, so we will move into this evening's order of business. Item number 1 will be consideration for approval of a resolution accepting a grant of municipal utility easement and temporary construction easement to the Village of Shorewood for the address PIN numbers of 050619-200-005 and 050619-200-006. This item is up for Public Works. Public Works Director Noriega.
Thank you, Mayor. So continuing with our water main project here, I approached the village board recently for the Minooka School District property for the easements on that property. Continuing with that, this is for portions of the property labeled as the Zerke's property. It's the property that is at the southwest corner of the CN Rail and ComEd easements and Sile Road. This is again for our big water main transmission project that we are constructing a 16-inch water main from our Public Works all the way to the Walnut Trails water tower. Currently, the parcel is vacant and used for agriculture. The Zerke's have already reviewed the plat of easement request and have already executed in conjunction with discussing with the potential developer for the property itself. So we are recommending approving the resolution accepting the plat of easement grant for the municipal utility easement and temporary construction easement to the village for the properties identified as 0506-19-200-005 and 05-06-19-200-006. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Nariel? If not, take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve as read.
Motion trustee Amos.
Second.
Second trustee Chapman. Roll call, please.
Carol,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Luciano,
Yes.
Selfridge.
Yes.
Amos.
Yes.
And Brockman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 1 is approved. Moving on to business item number 2 will be consideration for approval of an ordinance providing for the issuance of approximately $8.2 million in general obligation bond series 2024 of the Village of Shorewood, Will County, Illinois, for the purpose of completing capital improvements, installation or improvements of streetlights, sewer and storm sewer improvements, water main replacements, including infrastructure improvements related thereto, providing for the levy and collection of a direct annual tax sufficient to pay the principal of the interest in said bonds, and authorizing the sale of said bonds to the purchaser. This item is up for a first read. This goes over to Finance. Ms. Burkholder.
Thank you. This is the first read of our bond ordinance. We are not able to take any action on this item tonight. The second read will occur in 2 weeks on the same day as our bond sale. I am remiss, what's not included in this memo is our intention on how we're going to make that bond payment. That's our home rule sales tax. We did increase that rate, and those collections began on July 1st. So that collection amount is sufficient to make this payment. These 4 projects listed in the memo, the Earl and Geneva water main and road rehabilitation, the Valencia water main, Birch and Shady water main, and Maple and Oak water main, are those projects that took the place of the YMCA project, because that bond issuance is more straightforward than trying to do an issuance on a project that is not wholly within our control or ownership. Be happy to take any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Finance on that? Okay. Moving on to, thank you. Moving on to business item number 3 will be consideration for approval of a resolution releasing the maintenance bond for public improvements at Shorewood Town Center 1, Phase 4. And Ms. Engel.
Thank you. Town Center 1 was built in 4 phases. Phase 4 is at the northwestern part of the site and basically includes parts of Moran Drive. The public improvements in that area were completed in December 2021. Public Works and the building inspectors inspected the public improvements, and the as-built were also reviewed at that time. Everything was in good shape, so a 2-year maintenance bond was established in January of 2022. As we neared January, we went out and re-inspected to make sure everything was in good shape. There were a couple of curb repairs that needed to be done, so the developer went out there and took care of those curb repairs. And as a consequence, we're here 2 years after the maintenance bond was established, asking for it to be released. The maintenance bond we're holding now is just under $82,000, and essentially, if this were approved, the maintenance bond will go back to the developer and the improvements will be completely ours.
Anybody have any questions for Natalie on that? Otherwise, take a motion to release the maintenance bond.
Motion to approve resolution releasing the maintenance bond for public improvements at Shorewood Town Center Phase 4, Town Center 1, Phase 4. Second.
Motion trustee Amos, seconded trustee Carroll. Roll call, please.
Chapman?
Yes.
Luciano?
Yes.
Selfridge?
Yes.
Amos?
Yes.
Brockman?
Yes.
And Carroll.
Yes.
Thank you. Business item number 3 has been completed. Business item number 4 will be discussion of a concept plan for the Southwest Frontage Road development, and back over to Ms. Engel.
Thank you. Mr. Bill Slavic is here this evening. He has property that he has purchased on the south side of Sile Road, just off of Southwest Frontage Road. There's a couple of maps up there that will show you. Basically, it's the area between Southwest Frontage Road and the ramps for 55 and 80, and then the area sandwiched between the Ron Lee subdivision and the Southwest Frontage Road as well. Part of the property is annexed to the village and zoned institutional. The remainder of the property is unincorporated. Just for a couple of place markers, it's the Humane Society is just north of this site, and then the Future Home of Restoration Church is just to the south of the site. And Restoration Church actually sold off part of their property that they weren't using to Mr. Slavic as well. He's looked at a couple of different options for the site. Basically, he's proposed, I think, 7 different site plans. They all show options for 2 hotels, for a quick serve restaurant such as a cafe, for some type of a retail component, like a convenience store or something small like that, as well as for some electric vehicle charging, which is needed in the area. This area has been identified as needing electrical vehicle charging, and also really kind of a nice feature for people who have electrical vehicles who are traveling and need to stop at a hotel. So this is one of the options. He's got the retail shown. The detention, for the most part, is up by the north end of the site. He's got a coffee shop that bounces around depending on the site plan, and a couple of hotels, one on the east side of the street and one on the west side of the street. And then this will bounce around depending on the site plan, but he's got the electrical vehicle charging and then some solar canopies. So essentially the cars would pull under the canopies. There will be solar panels on top of the canopies, which will provide some of the electricity for the electrical vehicle charging. Here's another couple of configurations. He's just kind of swapped around the site plans a little bit. A lot of, which site plan gets chosen will depend on which hotel developer might be interested, as well as which hotel flag. So in this case, you can see one where they're kind of at an L to each other, and another one where they're parallel to one another. And yeah, so there's 5 total site plans. This is a concept plan, so basically Mr. Slavic is here for some input to let him know whether you think this is a good idea for the site, whether you have any concerns, any suggestions that you have.
Mr. Slavic, by chance, do you have any leads with any of the hotel flags? Have you been approached by anyone? Have you been any contacts yet? Just out of curiosity?
We talked to a few folks, but nothing in stone.
Okay.
We talked to another person for the piece on the east side, the triangular piece. We talked to them, they had some interest in the EV charging and a regular gas station combination. So we've had a little bit of interest, but we just kind of wanted to see what you folks thought tonight on a couple of concepts plans that we had, see if we should move forward to that or maybe go a different direction.
I like the idea, especially with the full interchange that's gonna go there. I think
It'd be a great asset for the village. There's gonna be a lot more, with the full interchange, there's gonna be a lot more traffic going in and out of that intersection, so. In regards to your concept plan, Natalie, I would assume that we've worked with them, make sure there's ample parking based on that, just so, I mean, I understand it's a concept, but just to make sure everything would fit for them.
From a very cursory perspective, we'll need to know information about how many rooms and things like that before we can really do that math. Just to give a little bit of context, typically the way it works with a hotel is you have a developer who then gets a hotel operator involved, a hospitality company, and then they go to the flag. So when we were at the ICSC convention, we did talk to a number of different hotel flags. Usually they come second. Usually you get an operator involved. They look at the property, see what will fit there, and then they approach the flag, and the flag starts doing their studies.
I think it's good, I like it. It'd be a nice, good benefit of that corner for the village. It'd be nice to generate some revenues for the village. It gives us some more positive exposure right through that intersection, so.
What are you looking for as a timetable for this if it goes?
We're currently working on a sewer extension, so that we can actually really legitimately market the site. We're gonna get started on that here pretty soon. Work on that all winter. Once we get that done, we have a couple of options, a couple of folks that reached out to us. It'd be great to just maybe, once we get the sewer in, maybe we tighten up the site plans a little bit more. But until we really get an end user, what we presented is kind of conceptual at this time. I'd love to say next week, but
How are you going to protect the neighbors to the west of there? A berm or something?
I'm sure there'd be a berm and probably some dense landscaping.
I think that given the proximity to those neighbors, I think we'll probably also have to consider some type of a wall almost. You know, we see sometimes those walls, they almost look like the walls up against the highway that are pretty solid. For those 3 or 4 residents who are right behind the hotel, I think that we're probably gonna need something like that because there's not a lot of space.
So did you propose for 3 levels? The hotels, 3 levels?
I believe so, yeah. I don't think it makes sense to do anything less than 3, as far as from a cost standpoint, based on the few hotels that I've worked on. 3 seems to be the magic number.
So will the number of elevators come when you get,
The hotels that I've worked on, 3 stories always have 2 hotels, or 2 elevators.
okay.
One other thing I probably should have mentioned is back in 2019, you approved an annexation agreement for the Restoration Church. That annexation agreement called to use septic for the church because there was really no availability of sanitary sewer service. Part of the improvements that Mr. Slavic will do will allow them to tap onto our sanitary sewer. So that'll be nice. You'll have a church with, little daycare rooms and stuff like that that'll have access to proper sewer.
May I ask at what cost?
I do not know the cost. I'm sure Mr. Slavic knows, but I think they've worked out with the church, so it's sort of a pro rata share type of thing where they've looked at what's going to be coming from the church and what's going to be coming from this development. Am I correct?
Say it again?
The cost to the church for developing the sanitary.
That was in our agreement when we purchased the property from them, that when we brought sewer, that we would bring it to our south end of our property and they would pick it up there. So there's no cost to them.
Thank you. This looks like a pretty good project, Mr. Slavic. The Manuka developments that are 80 to 90% capacity. Nightly, it says here in the question set from the PZ committee. That looks like a very successful, the brands you brought in there have been very successful in Manuka?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the kennels, veterinary, the Humane Society's been there a long time. Have you observed anything that would disrupt hotel stayers during the day when they are out? In other words, we worry about the dogs, being upset by lights and stuff, but do you think there might be noise going towards the hotels?
Well, if you look at the concept plans, we did our best to try to be a good neighbor, and we did put our attention on that north side.
Okay.
So that would give us, it would give us the most amount of distance that we could have from them by pushing our building south.
Have they voiced any concerns with this project that you know?
No, sir.
Looks like a good project.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
It looks like a good project, sir.
Thank you.
Will there have to be any impact study? Because Sile Road, there's a traffic light down the way. I don't know if could we have a traffic light in front of this development? And then what about Sile Road Bridge down the way and its impact on traffic and everything?
Sure, as part of the engineering, they'll have to look at traffic, and there'll be traffic consultants involved, and Christopher Burke will review it. I don't think it's gonna trigger a traffic light at Sile Road, but, obviously there's people who know a lot more about that stuff than I do who will take a look at that.
Do you envision like the gas station or the coffee shop, would they be 24/7 or would they close at night?
Again, I don't really have an end user,
Okay.
so I don't want to represent or misrepresent for someone that's going to be standing in front of you someday. I'm just a builder developer. If someone hires me to build it, I build it. If you see an opportunity to buy some property and put together a concept plan, then we try to market it and move forward from there.
Yeah, my other comments were, I think you do need a barrier. I don't know if a berm is gonna be enough if you're having hotels and coffee shops and all that. I think probably the highway wall, the concrete wall is gonna be something I would push for, as far as the plan. Other than that, I think it makes sense for that area. There's not much else there.
Will they need a wall for the Humane Society place as well?
No, sir.
No, that's what they put the pond on that to help create the separation.
Okay.
Yeah, there's more space there.
Yeah.
The residents is what I'd be concerned about, not so much the dogs.
Yeah, that's right.
Evergreen trees, especially arborvitae, do a very good job of absorbing sound, so I'm sure that they'll be incorporating some of that in the landscape. We see them in almost all landscape plans.
I like the project.
Any other questions for Mr. Slavic? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
With that, we will move into department reports for this evening. Mr. Dudash.
No report.
No problem, thank you. Community development?
Thank you. So I actually wanted to talk a little bit this evening about communications and social media. Just pulling this up. Since we've brought Isabel on, we've been doing a lot more posting on social media, and we are averaging more visits on Facebook, which is our primary social media force, this time of year compared to last year, which shows how important social media is for getting our word out. What we have found, though, over the past few months is we've been posting more content and we've been having less engagement with that content. So we feel it's important to share the information with the community, but we think we have to be more purposeful about it so that we get more engagement with it. And for that reason, we are going to try to tailor our messaging a little bit, where we'll post some information that tends to attract Facebook users onto Facebook, some other information that tends to attract Instagram users, like pictures and things like that, onto Instagram, and see if that helps with our engagement. And we'll also make sure we post everything on the village website so people have it. Just wanted to give you that update. If you see a little bit less, it's because we're trying to be more purposeful and to increase the engagement. We have a couple of things going on at tomorrow's Plan Commission, a comprehensive plan update. We also have a concept plan for Lennar.
One comment, that's a good idea. The other platform you might want to consider is X, or
Sure.
formerly known as Twitter.
Mhm.
It's not too restrictive. It's there's quite a bit of, it's more condensed usually, and lots of people are on it, as we know.
That's a good idea.
Anybody else? Thank you. Finance?
Thank you. Quite a bit going on. We are wrapping up the audit as we speak, so we will hope to have that before you as a presentation at our next meeting, as well as the results of the bond sale. Rates have gone down just a little bit. We're hopeful to maybe see something that starts with a 3, so keep your fingers crossed for that. That would be great. As well as our actuary report on the police pension fund, that came back, and we are looking to get a representative from Foster & Foster in at a board meeting coming up to present that to you all. So a lot of fun things coming up to keep you on the edge of your seat and probably be awake all night thinking about it.
It's a nice way of phrasing that. Thank you. With that, we'll move into parks. Riveting.
We'd just like to thank everyone once again who came out to all of our events this summer. We've had a blast with all of our residents at our Party in the Park, our boat regatta. Speaking of that, we will be having a makeup date for our Barbecue and Brews event. That will be October 12th from 12 to 6 p.m. out here at Town Center Park. Our fall garage sale, just a reminder, is September 13th and 14th, and registration does end on September 6th. And our fall newsletters will be arriving in mailboxes soon. It will go live on the village website on Monday, and registration will open then as well. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Public Works. I'm sorry, Police, I jumped ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing too much, just a quick mark your calendar event. September 21st will be our National Afternoon Out. We're changing things up a little bit this year. Usually it's National Night Out, the Tuesday after the fest. We're going to change it. It will be at Four Seasons Park, which will give us more room to bring some more fun stuff in. Also an afternoon event for the kids right before the Oktoberfest starts. So I'll remind you before that, but that'll be the new date. Thank you.
Thank you. Now Public Works, sorry.
Thank you. So much of our MFT resurfacing project has been completed. You may have seen a lot of the pavement marking striping company out there finishing that up. The only section that hasn't been completed, but we are coordinating with IDOT, is the River Road segment. So the River Road between Mound and the I-80 bridge. That we are coordinating and waiting for deconstruction to finish up that bridge, and we'll try to resurface both at the same time before that bridge opens up. Keep an eye out on Earl and Geneva, that project that we were holding up, the road reconstruction and the water main. The contractor patiently awaited us to finish our parade for the Crossroads Fest. So that work is actually going to get started later this week. You might start seeing equipment and materials starting to be dropped off this week, and preliminary work such as erosion control, filter baskets, and saw cutting of the pavement will begin shortly by the end of this week. Take a look at Rivers Oak Park at the intersection of Colonnade and Ranchwood. It's pretty much done. So Public Works, we do still have some landscaping work to be completed, but George's Landscaping, our contractor, finished up the park. The park itself is awaiting an inspection from our vendor. Once they give the go-ahead that everything was installed properly, the construction fence will be removed, and that park will be open to the public. There is one item that we are still awaiting a schedule on, which is the coating of the basketball court. So if you recall, there was a little bit of a backup delay with the contractor. There's only a few companies that do that. We kind of did the same thing with Cape Crest Park. We opened the park, and then I think 3 to 4 weeks later, that contractor comes in and only takes a couple days to coat the basketball court. And the River's Edge Park Phase A is ongoing and going strong. So if you do venture out that way, the contractor had finished much of the pathways around the playground, the curbing around the playground area as well, and they are now starting the installation for the concrete and framing for the parking lot itself too. Okay, that's all the update that I have. If there's any questions.
One question, thank you for that good report. The River Road I-80 bridge, is that still slated to be completed this year?
That's what they say.
Okay.
Contractor is working 10-hour days, 6 days a week to try to catch that up.
And River Oaks Park is looking nice. I ride by there every day, almost every day. It's looking good.
Thank you.
Anybody else, anything? Thank you. Administrator.
No report.
We'll move to trustee comments. Trustee Amos.
No comment, thank you, Mayor.
No problem. Thank you. Trustee Brockman.
Thank you, Mayor. As Natalie mentioned, we have a planning and zoning tomorrow night, 4 agenda items on the docket. And just a note, Trustee Amos and I visited the compost site yesterday with the leaves, and was impressed with what the fellows have done down there. We've seen quite a bit of shrink on the leaves, and what was some of the temperatures, 120, right? We got?
Yes.
So good temperatures for not having a machine. So, but a machine would have enhanced that considerably. But with what we've got, we're doing pretty good. So, and liked what I saw. So, and thank you to Jock. He took us around there and showed us everything. So sure appreciate that.
I'll let her know.
Okay, so that's my report, thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Trustee Carroll.
No comment.
No problem. Thank you. Trustee Chap.
I have no comment.
Thank you. Trustee Luciano.
Citizens Advisory will be meeting in September 26th. As always, if anyone's interested in becoming involved with the committee, they can contact myself or any of the members through the information on the village website.
Thank you. Trustee Selfridge.
No comment.
No problem. Thank you. With that, I asked for approval to go into executive session, discussion of land acquisition and sale or lease of real estate owned by the village and personnel to consider the appointment and employment thereof. Motion to go into executive.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Amos, seconded by trustee Carroll. Roll call, please.
Luciano.
Yes.
Selfridge.
Yes.
Amos.
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
And Chapman.
Yes.
All right, we will go into executive session. There will be no, we will adjourn from executive session. There will be no action taken after said session.
Mayor, let's just stay in here because we got like 3 department heads we're gonna need
That's fine.
to get.